Hello. Happy Saturday. How are you guys? How's it going? I know. It's a lot lately, right? I am just changing the thread in my machine, so I'll let you guys say hello, tell me everything looks, how it looks, see what you think, and then we'll get cracking on this bag you guys designed, because we're all kind of eager to see what it's like in real life, right? So I think I'm going to use a thread that's a little bit different color than the bag, just so it shows up. Hey, Louise, how's it going? Good to see you. You know, I feel like I didn't do good enough on that mask stream yesterday. I think the production techniques were kind of thin. Hey, Leslie. All right, I'm glad to hear it. I don't really want to do that. I do the stream again, but at the same time, I want to make sure that it's useful. You know what I mean? Okay, good. Let me see. How's my needle doing? Oh, I've got thread going around one of those little watermelon pom-poms there. I wonder how long it was doing that. I didn't even notice. I have these little, I don't know, can you see those? I have little, they're just like nothing. They're just magnets. They're just cute. They look like watermelon. I don't have a whole lot on my machine. I know a lot of people put a lot of stickers. I have a decal on the front of my machine that I had made, but that's about it. My old machine had Sharpie all over the thing. Like, man, I was messing around. Hey, Barbara. Hi, Patty. How's it going? Sitting quietly with your dog. That's right, Barbara. You're in California, too. So, let's see here. Let me move this. I have like this one little, ooh, you know what? I have the right thread in, so forgive me. I'm going to sew this little thing on this is the Tibetan chupo that we sewed. Oh, what is this? What? Look at this. They're like are they broken? No, this is why I didn't like these. They're still brand new. That's what it is. I know they don't look brand new because of that right there. But they're so blunt. There's some scissors laying around here. I have a bunch of scissors here. I think what I was going to do is just sew these two together like this. I pinned it, and I noticed the pin the other day, and I was like, oh, you know, it's not really the right color thread, but it's on the inside. And this way I won't forget to do it. There we go. I don't even know what it's for anymore. That little spot. This turned out pretty good, though. I think that was, oh, it's this right here. So I just finished that little edge right there. All right, let me set this aside. Boy, that dress is heavy, man. Hi, Ray. How's it going? All right, so let's see here. I have lots of scissors sitting around. They're all mediocre right now. So we, in the early part of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, I had you guys tell me what you want in a bag. And this is where we're at, we came up with. I only guided some of the sewing techniques and maybe some of the logical things I've just learned with making bags. There's a lot of bells and whistles on this bag, and it'll eventually be a free pattern for everybody. So today, the first day we designed it and I drafted the pattern, and the second day we cut it out, you know, the sexy stuff. And then today we're going to sew the prototype. So there is going to be lots of little details. I'm going to be sorting out the order of operations and how it will be the easiest and best way to sew it together. This free pattern will be basic. Like, it's not going to be like the project bag. If you've bought the project bag pattern from me, it's not going to be like that. But it will definitely have as much help as I can provide via video. And it'll be very clear what you need to cut out and how many and stuff like that. So, but it'll also be free. And, you know, I'm just trying to keep y'all busy, right? So we have a lot of little things we get to do. So first thing I like to do is kind of I sorted out my pattern pieces with you guys. I did I ended up cutting this stuff. It's like kind of like a thick fleece for one side of the laptop pocket, the inside. And on the outside, I just did a piece of the non-fusible interfacing you see me use in a lot of things, because it'll give the overall bag some body and structure, and it'll also provide some protection against the inside. So that's okay, Ray. It was totally spontaneous. Busy is good. It's really funny because I kind of wish I could just sit around and do whatever I want because I didn't have to go to work in a way. But then I was like, but I kind of do that in a way. Hi, Katie. I don't sit around doing nothing, I promise. I just feel like all I'm doing ever is coming up with things for the stream or editing thumbnails, struggling through graphic crap, how to optimize video stuff that I'm trying to understand, figuring out what products to do, and also troubleshooting a lot of projects to sew as well. Not products, but projects. And also working on the patterns in behind the scenes. So, this you can't buy this one, but it's very similar. This is actually stiffer. So the stuff you can buy at the store is easier to use for a lot of folks that haven't sewn stiffener. But you can get the Peltex or, what's the number? Is it 70? 70, right? But Pellon 70. Oh, does anyone know that? It's in the project bag. If you have the project bag pattern, it's in there. Someone told me what it was, and yeah. Right, Ray? It's all about you guys. It's true. I put a lot of effort into the stream, mainly because I really like it and I want it to be easy for me and for you. And I want it to be something that is a good enough quality, high enough quality that I can afford to put it out there, so I'm not like buying all this fancy equipment, It's not Deco Bond. 70-ish, Barbara? Okay. I feel like the thing is 70F. Pellon 70, Katie? Okay. That number just popped in my head, and I've just learned to just kind of trust sometimes my instinct of what pops into my head. Not always a good idea, but for, interfacing, But yeah, so I tell you guys all the time, you guys, I have like 300 yards of it. And I'm not talking 300 yards that's 20 inches wide. I'm talking 300 yards that's 44 inches wide. Okay, thanks, Louise. Yeah. That's the stuff. And I don't use the fusible. You can if you want. I don't like fusible personally because it looks like cellulite no matter what. So, they've really increased the quality of that stuff. So I'm probably being really unnecessarily harsh on it. So F is fusible. Okay, so 70. Yeah. Yeah, Louise. Yeah, non-fusible. Thank you. I saw the one with the F. That's what F means. Okay, thanks for telling me that. I haven't bought interfacing retail in a little while, so I'm kind of getting up to speed with what's out there nowadays. So, anywho. All right, so this is I call this the baffle. It's not technically a baffle, but it's the sides of the bag. That is kind of our last step. We're just going to set that guy aside. This is, I think, the front. I can see that curve of the top there. This is probably what I'll do first because it's got all these pockets. Oh, I didn't grab the zipper. Forgot the zipper. So we'll start with this first. And I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go get zipper. I'm just going to use black because I have it. Oh, boy. That looks precarious. I'll be right back. Tell anybody who comes that I'm going to be right back. And hum some music or something so they can hear, they're on hold. Okay, I'm coming. All right. Right, Ray? Legs and sewing, exactly. All right, so I'm using a zipper by the yard because it's the resource I have here, you know. So I just grabbed a chunk and my scraps. I don't know what I'm planning on doing with half of this piece. I don't think any of our zippers are this short, right? Because I use both sides, but we'll see. I'll decide. All right. I'm going to put my zipper pulls here. Let's slide you over here. Okay. So I have to remember kind of how we designed this. So this actually has its own pocket, and then this is the pocket goes to the thing, to the front. And then these are the gusseted ones. I'm actually looking forward to sewing those because they're kind of hard. So let's do the zippers here first. We might be doing a little binding too. So, thank you, Patty. That's awesome. That's what I heard. I heard the Jeopardy tune too. Someday I'll be fancy enough, and that's what I'll do. I'll put my little "be right back," and then it'll have like a little bit of music. I've actually been kind of like, for like a year and a half, asking around for someone to make me an intro. You know, like when I start the stream, it would have like a little small animation with music and everything. I really love like a highlights clip of things, you know, but no one really wants to take it on. So they're all like gamers and they want gaming clips, which are exciting, and they can put crazy music and junk like that. So, all right. So, let's see here. This is that's not big enough. Oh, well. All right. So I'm just going to start putting zipper on here, except actually, no, I'm going to bind this. Am I going to bind this? I'm going to sew this without binding, just in case some of you are like, no binding. We'll minimize the binding. We have some seam allowance here, so I'm just going to sew this right sides together. There's a lot of ways to do something like this. And I'm going to cut this kind of away from there, and I'm going to top stitch it. I'm sort of going to go quick because A, I'm eager to see what happens, and B, you don't have this pattern yet, and you don't need to sew it, and you don't need to suffer through some of the stuff yet, because we may not do this exactly like this, right? All right, so we have a zipper on there, and then we could bind this edge right here, or we could, same thing, sew it right sides together, and then it would be like that. The binding will probably lay flatter, and then we have this one going here, and we're gonna put the zipper on that one too. So we'll bind this one so we have a little bit of a color hit, and you can always do this right sides together. Hi, Eliza. Put the zipper pull on. Yeah, I have put a lot of those on. Yes, you'll be able to use regular zippers. Yeah. We'll just bind this one. I don't even have the right thread color for this binding, so yeah. Oh, I didn't get that lined up very good, did I? You see that? How did that happen? I laid it directly on top of it. You just gotta laugh sometimes, you know? Like, okay. I know that was laying on top of itself, but fine. Alright, so we now have this one pocket here, and then this one here. Yeah, so my zipper tape, it used to be a little whiter than what people got at the store. but it seems like some of the zipper tape out there is this wide. So you'll just have to accommodate whatever zipper width you have. And by width, I mean the overall width of the tape here. Because sometimes when you're setting it in, it does make a difference as far as what has been allowed for the space of that. No, I don't think so, because I literally just laid it all on top of itself, lined up the edges, and then bound it. It should not have done anything. But I probably, you know, pulled or something because this is on the bias, or maybe my presser foot. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to put the zipper pull going that way on this one, because otherwise this zipper will be underneath the top of the angle pocket. See? Right there. So I'm going to make it go that way. Yeah, binding looks pretty bad. I mean, color-wise, with next to the bird, it really competes. Maybe if we didn't have it there like that, you'd see that bird so much nicer. Right? Let's just take it out. Why not? See, taking out a binding seam when we had it on the binding machine, while we didn't want to have to do that, in a way, it was super satisfying, because when you took it out, it would take out the whole piece of binding in one go, because it was only stitched on with one pass, you know? Whereas this is stitched on with 2 passes, so I have to kind of go and do it again. Hopefully I didn't backstitch. You know? Makes it a lot easier. Hello? Or that happens. You can still see, can you still see my stitching is there? If I could pick that up right now, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it on there. That way I can keep the mess as much as possible just on this piece of binding. That's my theory. Hi Karen, how's it going? I like the binding on its own too, but I think right now it's competing for that little tiny bird we worked so hard to center on there. And now at least we can work on these angles, right? This isn't precious, so normally I would just rip this. I would just pull it. But because it ripped right there, it'll just cause me more work. All right, so now let's get rid of some of this. It's prototype, it's prototype, it's prototype. I'm just going to say that to myself over and over. I could just encase these threads in there. All right, so let's put this, you know, right sides together. That way, maybe we could get that edge finished. I've actually never sewn a zipper like this before. I'm kind of curious what happens. I think it's the angle making it stretch out. I think that's what's happening here. I'm going to kind of ease it on there. Yeah, I've never sewn a zipper like where the zipper tape is at the top like that. That's kind of weird. In fact, we're not going to do that. It would be better if we did that. If we let the seam allowance kind of hang over. Because remember, we still need to stitch this down. If we do not stitch this down, well, let me show you something. So the thing is, like with pockets, especially zippered pockets, I don't know why, but the mistake that I used to commonly make, hi Terry, is one time I actually made a bag and I put the zipper on there, and then I realized, I don't even know if I can describe it correctly because it was such a silly mistake and so obvious once I did it, but when I was designing it, it made so much sense in my head that when I did it, the zipper went to nowhere, like the pocket went to nowhere. There was no behind it, you know? So right now, this is actually its own little unit, right? It has a back. I could have just top stitched, like leave this piece off right here. Pretend that's not there. I could have just laid this pocket on here and stitched it down with raw zipper tape or binding, whatever you want. You know what I mean? This is kind of extra. So right now, we actually have the potential for 3 pockets. We have this zippered pocket here. we could stitch it down on the sides, and then we'd have a pocket behind it. So we have one here, here, and then we'd have one in here. You see what I mean? So they can kind of stack up, and that's kind of a lot of pockets. Up to you. Your bag, though. But you can kind of start seeing the potential. I'm going to understitch this, but this is going to end up being redundant. I'm only going to do it because I'm experimenting right now. It's going to be redundant because I'm going to also have to probably top stitch the pocket down. This is a weird way to sew a zipper pocket. Really weird. The binding was a better idea, but I didn't like the way it looked. So, see, because right now we're over-engineering. To put it simply, it's over-engineered right now. See, and it's kind of a little tricky right there. You got this little edge there. See that? It's weird. You see that? Is it too dark? You want it lighter? Because now I want to edge stitch this to here. No, I would just stitch it to the backing before I attach the pocket to the bag. Exactly, Louise. Too many pockets. See, the thing is, like Karen's like, more pockets are always better. And they can be okay as long as what you're putting in them isn't going to hinder the bag. Yeah, exactly, Karen. I mean, that's why I got rid of the binding, because now you see the bird. So this is what I would probably do. I would probably take this piece off right here. If this were my bag, I would take this off, like when I go to sew mine. And then I would just stitch this zipper, this pocket down, one layer onto this piece here. You know, with maybe the raw zipper tape there. I would probably bind it, let's be honest here. And then I would have two pockets only, right? Why not take the back piece off the zipper and stitch the bird pattern? Well, you can do that, Eliza. I don't know why I was thinking of facing it. That's actually what I would do. But right now you have the potential for having the 3 pockets. And now I've freaking understitched it, so yeah. So here, we're going to do this. We're not going to do that. Just a second. Ooh, I don't know if I have any fabric, you guys. Oh, but you know what I have? Wait. Oh yeah, look what I got here. Watch this magic. We'll just use this piece. This is great. I like it when we can get rid of, here, this is what we'll do. Okay. Now we can get rid of a pattern piece, which is great. So if I was doing this for my, like, if I was actually designing this bag for whatever use, you know, like to sell, I would have a little notepad here and I'd be making copious notes right now. But right now, do I have a notepad? Oh yeah, I do, okay. Oh my gosh, you guys gave me some good notes here and I forgot them. Hi Lou, how's it going? I know it's probably really early for you, isn't it? Okay, so remove under angle pocket. It'll just make it a lot faster if I remember that now. Okay, so now we have lots of zipper. We're back on track. The video is my notes. I do not want to watch my video again. You'd probably see a lot fewer videos from me if I had to watch myself. I sometimes go back and look because sometimes I think, did I say something incorrectly? And I'll go back and listen to it because I feel like sometimes what I'm thinking I'm saying, I say a different word. You know what I mean? I do it all the time, actually. And in fact, I've had to re-record big videos because of it. And so sometimes I go back and check. All right, so right now, like say you're fine with that raw edge of the zipper, you could just top stitch this down right now like that. You could maybe turn it and edge stitch it. That would be very unconventional for zipper tape. And you would also see a little bit of your edge in there and it might hang up on your zipper. So don't do that. I mean, maybe if you did it like this, stitched it down and then turned it. Hi Cheryl, welcome, welcome. Getting that spot down is not going to be easy, and plus we're going above this one here. So that's another issue. That's why we made it separate. Gosh darn it, you guys. That's why we made it separate, because it goes on top of that. Shoot, I'll be right back. I need fabric now. Womp womp. I'm still over here. Just gotta cut a big chunk off. All right. That's why we have that. Yeah, Lou's in New Zealand, so sometimes they're like, oh, wait, I thought you were at 9 my time. We could have fun with this and, you know, have a bird peeking out the pocket when you look inside. Oh, really, Leslie? I'm glad. Sometimes, I think I used to really worry that it made me look like I didn't know what I was doing. But then I was like, this is how it is, so find someone who doesn't do it that way, and I'll watch them, you know? All right, so let's put our angle pocket back. We knew what we were doing, you guys. We need to trust ourselves more. All right, so maybe my lesson instead is that we use a lighter weight fabric so that we can do the thing where we turn it to the inside, but I just don't like that. I just really think binding is the way to go. Sorry. I have spoken. We can draft the pattern differently so that you don't have to use binding though. So we'll do that. It's your guys' bag. So you tell me if you don't want this to be bound, we can make the pattern differently so that you don't have to bind it. And it'll still work the way we intended. It'll compete with our little birdie, but at least we learned that. And when we do our final one, maybe the binding can match the zipper tape, you know, like a solid black or whatever color you're using, and then it'll blend in. All right, so then now we have our separate pocket right here, and it's gonna sit there like that. I wasn't really thinking this through, this whole like overlapping. I've never done that before. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to stitch this to it. So we have 3 pockets. Karen will be happy. So, you know. Yeah, but you're right. You could put card and keys in there or something like that. Oh, what was the problem? Okay, so Leslie, what did it, oh, here we go. So originally I sewed it like this, right? And then we were like, you know, the binding is competing, for me, I was thinking the binding is competing with this cute little bird, right? And I am trying to minimize the binding because I know I tend to do that heavily. And that isn't everyone's cup of tea. Plus, it may not be the look you want, right? So instead, I was like, you know what? Let's just sew the fabric directly to the zipper at the top. But that made it very unconventional and kind of awkward and kind of a weird thing to finish. And I was thinking the whole time, oh, we're going to be stitching this pocket to the under this one. Stitching this pocket to this pocket. And then I just remembered, oh yeah, we're hovering above this one right here. So we can't stitch through that. So this needs to be its own little entity. Because once I was like, okay, let's remove the binding. Hey, let's just remove the fabric altogether and let's just stitch this pocket directly to it. So, awesome, Karen. So, this is actually a really interesting way we designed this. I'm going to bind the top here because now I'm realizing this is actually really interesting. You guys designed something I haven't seen before. But sometimes you just don't know it until it's a physical thing in front of you. I'm still not even sure how we're going to finish this edge right here. I just have to sew it to know. We're going to go out through all of these things, but we're also going to move our zipper head here, just like this. So now we have a pocket here, and we'll have a pocket here through the zipper hole. This is going to be stitched down. All right, so now we're going to set this aside, and we're going to work on our gusseted pockets, and then we'll attach them. How does it have 2 zippers ending at the same point? Well, one's going to end here and one's going to end here. I really don't know how we did that. Liza. Because sometimes when you draw it, it makes more sense on paper than it does in real life. Trust me, after going through design school, I can 1,000,000% tell you that there's a lot of people who design things that cannot be made. We're all guilty of it. All right, so we never really came up with a closure for our flap, did we? Did we? I can't remember. What were we thinking? Was I just leaving it open to you guys? Can't remember now. Alright, so we're going to sew this flap. I'm not even ironing today. It's a big bag. I want to get through it. So that next week we can kind of work on the pattern. So now we have a little flap. And then when you lift it, little bird's right side up. I think I could have interfaced the under fabric because it's a little stretchier than this. And look at that, it's a little wonky. You know? Yeah, I think so too, Leslie. But I know that if some people are putting their phone in this pocket, they'll be shy about using the magnetic stuff. But yeah, it was not Velcro. Yeah, I remember that too. In some cases, you don't really need a closure, you know? But it is nice. Even just a snap that's not magnetic could be used. Okay, so let's face the top edge here. Actually, it's the whole top edge, right? Yeah. Let's just trim this close, keep our nice little curve, hopefully. Yeah, that you could do that. The bird's peeking again? Yeah, exactly, on the flap. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that, Leslie. I mean, are you guys the type to do cartwheels when you're wearing your bag with all your precious things inside? Real talk. You tell me, right? Dang, I keep forgetting to wear my rings. I finally get to wear my rings, and now I keep forgetting to wear them because I'm not used to it, and I'm not used to my new routine of taking them off. I think I want to iron these, actually. And then my husband was like, you know, you should just leave them off because cleaning your hands and they don't recommend having rings. I was like, oh, okay. Good to know. I can't get used to my new routine yet. Why did he kick you out of bed? Oh, because he's like trying to sleep in. He's trying to sleep. He's like, what are you doing, crazy? The metallic snap, I think some folks get a little nervous putting them near their phone. And this pocket was designed to be either eyeglass case or phone. So there's that. Come on, Betsy. Warm up. That's not the name of my iron, but you guys can call her that if you want. All right, so just make this little facing so we have a nice smooth curve, and we also don't have any binding. Right, Lou? Exactly. Sherry. Hi, Sherry. How's it going? That whole thing of leaning back to get the kids out of the car seat thing is no joke. One of the many reasons having kids younger is easier. Getting down in the bottom of your car to pick up every cheddar bunny or pretzel or slice of moldy apple that you didn't know fell down there. I remember I went with when my daughter was like, I don't know, she's a few months old, and I went with a walk with some other moms, and one of them invited her friend who had just had her second baby. So, you know, she was seasoned compared to all of us. And those moms don't like hanging out with new moms because new moms judge those moms that are seasoned, right? So I remember her getting out of her car. She had like a little station wagon. I feel like I've told you guys all my stories. I'm getting boring. I feel like I've told you this one, but I remember she had her dog with her to bring on the walk. And she was like, saw all the snacks on the floor in front of the car seat. And she had her dog clean them up for her. And I remember thinking, well, that's something I'm never going to do. I was kind of appalled at that. Like your dog eating all those snacks. I don't know why. I totally jinxed myself and did that eventually, mainly because I thought I was trying to clean up some stuff, and I did have the dog, and I was like, what the heck, that's easier. She was onto something. But I just love that I was like, I'm never doing that, that whole new mom thing. I won't ever do that. It is, Karen. It's I don't know the name of it, but they're just sold at my local fabric store, which is quilting oriented. And I think they're geared towards quilters because they like how when they're using blocks that are pieced, how it doesn't really nestle in. I don't know what it is. I'm not like a quilter like that. Like, I don't know anything about it. But they really like those. They're really popular. And I needed a unique shaped ironing surface near my streaming setup. When I first started, I needed it to be like a tabletop because I didn't have room for the ironing board because of the legs. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that'll work perfect. And I actually love it. I ended up buying a small one too. Hi, Sydney. You didn't miss a whole lot. We sewed and re-sewed the zipper pockets. Now we're on to the gusseted ones. This is what we got so far. This ended up being 3 pockets. One here, here, and then there'll be one right here. And binding will be hopefully optional. Gypsy something? Really? No, mine's not gypsy something. I just remember that it felt very home grown, the company. They're based in Oregon, and there's typos on the packaging, which kind of made me endeared to them. Now, one of the ways you could be kind of fancy, especially if you're using a lighter weight fabric, is you could just line this whole piece, and I would just sew it like I did at the top there, and then lay the fabric flush with all the edges, and then treat it as one piece from then on out. You know what I mean? So, you sell them at your work, Lou? Yeah, so maybe the brand in New Zealand is different. Oh, it's the Beatrice form, Sherry. That's a little kerchief that comes on your Beatrice form when you get it. You just can't see it when it's on. When you see the picture of the form, you can't tell that's what it is. And so I was like, what is this thing? And then I was like, oh, it's their logo. Okay, so now we have our little gusseted pocket here. So if I remember this correctly, we're going to sew our gussets. Honestly, lining the whole pocket isn't a bad idea. It would use more fabric and seem like more work, but it might end up being less. Because now we need to turn under this whole edge. But if we lined it, that might be too much. Okay, so now we have one. I've been struggling to find things for my backdrop on this side of the room. Now that I don't have my gorgeous wood shelves behind me. Lou, exactly. I'm sure you have plenty of wool. All right. So now we have these two, and I'm actually going to sew these two right sides together. I'm kind of borrowing a technique I figured out on that closet organizer that I made. I kind of knew I was going to run out of bobbin thread. That's why I got one all ready to go. I was tired after that stream yesterday. I was really nervous about it. I get really nervous about stuff like that. you know? And it kind of takes a lot out of me. I went home and I just sat in my chair. The pug joined me. And then I asked my husband if I could have some potato chips, and he was just like, yeah. It was like 5 o'clock and I really wanted some. And we had some, which we never do. And I was like, I want some chips. And then I played some video games and it was great. Oh, Barbara. You're so clever. Oh, I didn't sew my, I didn't do a test sewing on my, when I changed my bobbin. Ugh. Look at all that. All right, so I'm going to finger press this. So I will probably provide some drill holes of where the flap placement. They are, Leslie. You know, every machine's different. How have you sewn with your current machine a lot and quietly, like with nothing else on? All right, thanks. Oh, okay, cool, Karen. Well, that's nice of you. Thanks. I just get nervous about stuff like that. You know, that kind of information. I'm not one to jump on bandwagons at all. Yeah, if you had lined them, like I was saying before, because like this edge right here, theoretically, this edge can go into the seam allowance, this whole, these two edges here, right? Or we raise it up. This one right here is going to go to this. We're figuring this out, right? So let's see, this looks like it ended up being a tad taller than that. Interesting, because I was kind of hoping it was a tad shorter. Yeah, right, Sydney? So, you know, I was a lot better with figuring out if my bobbin was running out with my old machine. Now I notice it, this one, I notice it by the way it sews. It all of a sudden just feels differently. I can't even put my finger on it. I'm still getting to know it. I've only had this machine 1.5 years. And I haven't sewn on it nearly, I don't put nearly the number of hours on this machine that I did on my other. In fact, you guys see almost all the hours I put on my machine. You see about 90% of the hours I put on this machine, which is before it wouldn't have been possible. You know, on peak times, I would sew 7 hours a day. So now I don't do that. All right, so I'm thinking, how did I do this on the closet organizer? So if I have this in the corner, that would need to be split. The seam allowance would need to be split like that, which is what I'm thinking. Let's see here. Pivot there, pivot there. I'm gonna stitch that down right down the middle of the seam allowance. Stitch that there. And then let's see how this is lining up here. Well, that's not too bad. So let's put this, see this is a little higher, which I'm not super thrilled with. That'll be okay. So let's sew this, all right, let's get this all lined up. Can I get this lined up, please? I'm going to hang this down about 1/4 inch past that fold. And I think that this is something I would change in the pattern, that these two edges line up, because otherwise that'll drive me a little cuckoo. So I like to have things like that line up. Get all these threads here. If you're going to use a brass zipper, you might have a little trouble in that little spot there. But because this is stiff, it's going to push into the pocket, which I think is good. Because then I can have, since this is the taller one, now I have a place I can turn under and top stitch down to the bag to create the separate pockets. You know what I mean, jelly beans? All right, so now let's lay this on here. see how we're doing. You guys wanted all these bells and whistles, and I bet you're regretting it now. Okay. Kind of looking at this, see if there'd be an easy way to do this. That'd be where it's at. There are these things called clips and pins that maybe I could employ those, right? That would be there. Yeah, okay, that is how it goes. Okay, good. I'm just gonna tack this to the edge. That. And we'll open up that seam. Like that. Did I not backstitch there? I better have. Push that way, and I'm gonna pull that down. Okay, how are we doing over here? So we're a little bit long. Interesting. So maybe if I cut from this end, I lose some of my bird. If I cut from this end, maybe that's what I would do. I think I'm gonna cut from that end there. So let's see here. How much do I need to cut? Quite a bit. Sorry. My stitch length, you know, I don't know. I mean, my machine says 2.5, but I never understand what that means because I always was taught stitches per inch. But then I'll see something like that mini quilt block sew along that I am doing that I'm totally afraid of. And they say what the stitch length is, and it says something like, I don't know, it was tiny. It was like 1.5 or something like that. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, 1.5, what does that mean? You know, because that's not my language. I usually think stitches per inch. Maybe that's like a universal thing now, to use like numbers on your a dial, and all dials are the same, because they were not all the same when I was learning to sew at all. And when you're working like somewhere for a company, like most of my sewing experiences, that stuff is set by someone, and if you change it, you could get fired. I never had that problem, but like I was never in that situation, but I definitely remember it, you know, because we were doing things like waterproof breathables and military spec things, you know, so you had to adhere to certain things. So it's not something we discussed. It was set, it was like one and done, like we would set it and that was it. Yeah, I think it is in millimeters, exactly. Lie's a nice one. Maybe the gusset could be bigger. Well, that, I mean, if anything, I could have made, I can't really change these to accommodate this right here. I'm going to have to alter this. I could make these bigger if we wanted. But look at that, how much that is different. That's quite a bit. It's kind of interesting that it was off that much. What was my plan? Why is it off that much? A ½ inch I would see, because I could see trying to come up with all these things at one time. I'm genuinely interested. What did I do wrong right there? All I need is a ½ inch, so it's about, I need this to be a ½ inch, so that means, I mean, that's like 5/8 of an inch off. Okay, maybe it's not as off as I think it is. That, it is metric per something. Yeah, I think so. Top I have on. What do I have on? Oh, I have the willow tank on, and it's bias cut. I love it. And then I did a little loop right here. I just did a little tiny hole, and then I bound it. That was it. That was all I did. And I dropped the armhole 3/4 an inch because the armholes kind of tend to be tight on their patterns for me. But that's it. But the bias cut willow tank, hands down my favorite tank. It's so comfortable and flattering. All right, let's hope I didn't cut too much off. See if that was lined up now. I think I need to cut more. Ooh, but like 1/8 more. 1/8 more. Okay. All right. Maybe I meant to seam the pockets together before attaching to that. Well, I am. Oh, maybe I don't know which pockets. Since the gusset pockets are higher, would making the bottom gussets deeper, drop them down a little shorter and more narrow. Let's look at that. Since they're a little tall, if I made them deeper. Well, you actually are onto something, Eliza. The problem is anytime you're doing these kinds of gussets, if you make them at all different, it affects both sides. So, because if I wanted to make, I could make this deeper by, like sewing across this. You really could. You know? But you'd have to do it to all of them if you wanted them to kind of look proportional. Yeah, I might, Leslie. I actually need to get rid of this angle pocket one here. Remove. There we go. Yeah. I'm trying to get good, Lou, at being really consistent in my patterns, and I will triple check them, and then the person doing the graphics should be like, oh, I caught one more. I'm like, where? You know, I'm like, how did I miss one? I'm literally looking at it. I'll look at it from different ways. Like I'll go bottom to top. So it's not like I'm not reading it and just gleaming past it, you know? Malin really taught me a lot on using metrics, but I have a feeling like I've still got a few weird things, you know, written in there. All right, so let's do this now. Now I'm at the point where I'll just make this work, and I will fix the pattern at the table. So let's try and get this back on here now. This is a prototype I can make work. Some I would, you know, this isn't a bad problem right here. This isn't a big deal. There are some times when I'm prototyping that I will not continue if it's not perfect. Hey, Cindy. Well, we're thinking eyeglass case. And phones vary, and cases vary. So that's what we're thinking. How do we do here? Oh, we almost got it. I can make this work. Let's see here. We're going to push that all toward the gusset pocket. So now we have this, we have our gussets starting to take shape. And now we're going to top stitch this one down because it's the easy one, since the pocket kind of guides it. Oh, I forgot to do something. Dang it. Oh, maybe it was the clover clip. I'm about to lose this flap too. I forgot. I was going to actually define the box right here. Let's see. I think I can still do it. I think it'll look really cool if we do. So we're going to do it. It's really easy to do, and it kind of gives a nice effect. Pull all this away like that. You just go corner to corner. Like this. Where you go is pretty obvious because we're going at all these angles. There's one. See, so now we have this little box shape. Makes us look clever. We like looking clever. The doggo says thanks. I feel like the doggos are becoming the like real stars of people staying home and working because they like, you know, will photobomb the video conferences, and my husband will definitely be on a call with his team, and then like UPS or someone will walk by our house and our dogs will go crazy and everyone's like, oh, there's your dogs. It's like, yeah. They're still learning. I think it was better to go from the other side so I could see that I was staying straight. But it was a good exercise to try. So on this one, I sewed from this side so I could see the width right here. And on this one, I sewed from the top. Because I was like, oh, I want my bobbin to be on the other side, but then I couldn't see the width, you know. Yeah, they all start barking, exactly. Okay, so now all we have left is to sew this down here and to put our flap on. And we're just going to stitch in the ditch. I think you might want to finish these edges here, depending on what you do. If you line it, you wouldn't want to sew them right sides together though. What's going on here? Oh, here we go. All right, so we have a lot of little threads here. This would have been a little nicer looking had I done it before. That's nice, right? I mean, like, it's very three-dimensional. Who has folds in the middle of her pockets? How'd that happen? All right, so let's put the flap on this pocket rather than this one, so that we have the best chance of it being hidden by the bag flap. Let's get rid of some of this though. Any more? Any more? Any more? Yeah, here we go. This is one thing I don't like about my machine. I think all machines do it, but I wish mine didn't. Okay. So let's see, do we want it here? Yeah, I think that you would want a closure. I think, Leslie, we could have done that box stitch before we even attached them to each other, because this stays out of the way of the perimeter, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. And then you could have like not had the whole bag kind of weighing you down. That's why. That's what I was thinking. So maybe you would want a closure because this flap isn't very deep. And you can see my stitching. I don't like that at all. I don't like that you can see the stitching right there, but we did make it asymmetrical, and I think I even drew it that way. Let's look at the picture. Yeah, I mean, I did. Look at that. Look at that little flappy pocket there. You can see my facing stitching. I knew that was going to happen, and I still let it happen. So, you know, we'll see what we think. I'm gonna put my flap a little close because of the gusset. I'm gonna put my pocket flap close that way. That way, it is as long as possible. But I think I like them when they're a little bit higher than the pocket so that you're not getting hung up on them. That was too close. That was too close. Sometimes you gotta do it to know it's not right. I would sometimes spend much time trying to figure out how to do something. And I eventually would just be like, you know what, just go sew it. You know it's wrong, but you don't know why it's wrong until you're sitting there with the 3-dimensional pieces at your sewing machine, you know, and then I could kind of figure it out and think about it differently, you know. It's quite a task when you're dealing with clients from far away when you're doing stuff like that. It's kind of like when you work with a sample maker. Sample makers are amazing. They're really amazing sewists. They're different than production sewists. They're usually production sewist who gets promoted to it. There's someone who knows how something goes together and sometimes they don't really know why or what the pattern pieces look like. They just know what they need. They'll be like, okay, I know the pattern pieces need to be something like this. Because I would say, hey, I really want this kind of front placket closure on this top, and they would say, oh, you need pieces that look kind of like this, and they would give me, and I'd be like, yeah, that's it. And it's like between the two of you, you can figure it out. All right, so let's put this a little higher. I think that this could be probably an inch longer, but then it gets proportionally a little like weird. So we're going to put it, I'm going to line up that edge now to that first stitching line. I won't move it again today. This way now I have room when I fold it down to stitch it down and hopefully encase this raw edge, because I'm going to trim this down a little bit. This is the least sexiest way to do a flap, by the way. Yeah, I think the flap on the gusset, I need to think about this. There's a better way. See, look at that. No bueno. There we go. Okay. What, Ray? Today made me laugh out loud. What does that mean? Okay. We can set this aside. It's our front now. It's looking pretty much like our picture. What do we think? Except I switched where the flap is. But not bad. Okay, set that guy aside. And now we're gonna work on, and then here's our lining for our front. Now we're gonna work on our inside pockets. This is our flap, we're not working on that. Although we could put a, the zipper welt, and I think I'll just do that at the end. What is that? Oh, okay, here we go. I saw this chunk of fabric and I was like, what's that? Why is it ripped? Okay, here we go. I need to iron this, and I'm embarrassed I didn't do that before. Oh, I wouldn't change it today, yeah. Well, I get to a point where it's like, okay, I can't just keep altering pattern pieces at the table. Like, there's no point because they won't work. So you just got to kind of let it go and deal with what you got, you know, and move on. That's kind of why I say that. I need some more water. I have some here. So here's my funky teapot that I put water in with. And it broke. See, the thing broke right when I moved here. I have a water bottle at home that sometimes I'll use, but I find the water bottle works too good. It pours too fast. Whereas a teapot is a really nice, you know, rate of flow. Not something I really thought much about when I did it. It was just serendipitous. All right. Okay, so we have, what does this pocket look like? It has, I need to look at the sketch for a second here. So it has the zippered pocket. Oh, and then we're sewing the divider above and below. Okay. Okay, and then is this all my pattern pieces? This is all I got? Am I missing something? This is the front, and this is the front. So let's put you two together. Here's some zipper. That's the back. This needs to go somewhere else because it's stressing me out. And is this... Oh, that's the back document pocket. That could use a press. Okay, these are all my pattern pieces. This is it? This is all I get? What was I thinking? This is the divider. So this gets sewn to here, right? Yeah, okay. Never mind, I got it. Took me a bit there. All right, so we're gonna kind of do the same thing. We're gonna sew our zipper here, right sides together. Now I think if you want it to be slick and a little more polished, which I'm a big fan of, do things like you can add pieces of fabric here and here at the end, beginning and ends of your zipper. Same with the other thing. Like I'm kind of doing this in a quick and dirty way. But it would also, especially if you're doing something like a brass zipper, you could use a piece of fabric at the end of your, either end of your brass zipper, above and below where all the teeth are and the pull. And then that way you're sewing that into the seam rather than the zipper itself. Like I'm definitely taking advantage of the fact that I have a nylon zipper here and I can sew straight through it. It makes it a lot easier. So we have, I could put 2 zipper pulls on this. Okay, so we're sewing this down, right? And we were gonna make, I actually could put 2 zipper pulls on this. This is kind of cool. Why didn't I ever try this? This is pretty cool. I'm gonna go toward the inside of the bag. So now I'm gonna have to zip all the way through to get rid of that little open end there because it'll bug me. Boy, I didn't cut that straight, did I? Let's see if I can get this going. Now you could just use 1 zipper, but I'm cheating. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Yeah, I looked at that website with the locks snaps, and I also saw those other zippers on there. I couldn't figure out like how the pricing worked on it, but judging by a few of the other things on that website, the Buckle Guy, the Buckle Guy website, that stuff was spendy. But they had like metal zippers by the yard. I've never put a zipper pull on one of those, so I'm kind of curious what that would be like. They probably have a tutorial or something. I'm going to bind this top edge. We really kept the fabric layers down here. So if you wanted more body in this pocket, you could interface it or line it. I think that would be nice. You could really spend your time on the construction of this bag and make a very nice bag. It's kind of making me want to make a bit scaled down version of it in that wax cotton I got, you know. Okay, so now we have this little double, I put 2 zippers on there. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can stitch right through my zipper. So, but one of the things I remember is, isn't one of these things, oh, this is getting sewn to the, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. I had to remember that. So we don't need to bind this edge. We could just, yeah. All right, so we're gonna sew the perimeter of this. So this is the divider with the water bottle pocket. Not pocket, but compartment. So we're gonna sew along the top here. Because remember, it has this little edge right here, kind of like the project bag does. But we're not going to bind it this time, like you do on the project bag. I'm just going to sew and turn. I hope that works. I hope I actually have enough. I'm not sure if I gave myself a seam allowance on this edge. How interesting. I do not remember if there was a seam allowance on this edge. If not, the pocket got shorter, and then also it'll stretch a little bit across the bag. Why are you guys so quiet? I'm in your head. What do you mean? I'm gonna go to the iron now. I hope that's not a bad thing, Sydney. I hope it's like a little cheerleader cheering you on and saying, you got this, and be kind to your future self, you know. Okay, so let's open this up a little bit. Make it a little easier. I put the birds on the back side. I'm gonna have to clip this edge. Oh, maybe not. I thought I was gonna have to clip that. Okay. Let's press this right now, whatever this is. What is this? Oh, this is that back pocket. That's awesome, Sydney. I'm glad. You're putting a sleeve on, Karen? Nice. Okay. So now we have this a little pocket here. I do not remember how we were planning on finishing the edge, but I'm just now thinking that probably I should have bound all the way down here. You know, that would have been the smart thing to do, but oh well. We'll just turn this edge under. Will we now? Will we turn this edge under? We will not turn that edge under because of the zipper. We're just going to bind it. And I'm going to, when we do our next prototype, our final, I'm going to show how not to bind all this stuff. Actually, yes, Patty, what? Because if we put fabric on the ends of the zipper, we could have turned this under and we wouldn't have had to bind it. Let's trim this down. This is too stiff and wide for me to do that right there. I'm getting kind of excited. We're getting to the like put our bag together part. I love the pocket part, and then I love the construction part. You know, I like that. That's kind of what is fun about a bag. You get a couple of different phases. It's kind of like knitting socks. You get to do lots of fun steps, and you don't have to wait long to do the next one, you know? The stiffener for the water bottle section. There isn't any, but I am going to put some on the laptop sleeve. Oh, hi Glenn, how's it going? Can swap your sleeve for this corset? Oh God, I don't know if Karen's up for that. So now it's a little wide because I didn't turn it under. So I'm just going to hang it off a little bit, and I'll trim it off down there. Pick your battles, right? But why is that crooked now? All right, so I'm going to stitch this pocket down along the top, otherwise it won't be a pocket. That's what it was, you guys. That's what it was. That is exactly what I did. I put something like this on a bag, and I didn't stitch it down, and so that it was a pocket. The zipper was meaningless. I remember that. What bag was that? It wasn't in production. It was just like one thing I made for me. And I was like, what's going on here? Come on, Duffy. All right. Why is that crooked there? You see that? Is it just because of that right there? I'm seeing this hang off. Since it's a different fabric, it's very likely that it's just a little bit looser and stretched. I'm going to stitch this down along this edge here. Oh, so who asked the water bottle stiffener? So I do have this like stiffener going in the laptop sleeve pocket. All right, I'm going to stitch across the top of the binding. So now we have a pocket. Try and keep my binding straight. I'm going to stitch down. And these will be our precious pocket and our EpiPen pocket. And so we have a notch here. We're going to go by the notch on here since this one I kind of slid over. And that notch is going to divide our pocket right here. We're going to stitch that down. Aren't we going to stitch that down so this is this a big pocket in here? Wait, I have to look at the picture again. Nothing in the divider thingy. It's stitched all the way through there, so that's 2 pockets. Okay. That's fine. So this goes to here. So this pocket, I don't know if you can see right there. There it is right here. We can trim this off too, so it's not distracting. You could put zip stiffener in there though, but you really won't need it to hold the water bottle in there because it's going to be attached across the bag about right here. So it's going to be like this, and so it'll be its own little like compartment. So as long as you're not using something that's really tiny, it's not really going to fall over or anything because it's going to have this little compartment here, which is about, it's going to be like a 3 to 4 inch square right here for your bottle, which will also get bigger because it's loose. So it can do this, you know, and go around a bigger bottle. So waspy style for myself. I was gonna go to do the divider, but stop before the zipper, like the satchel. Yeah. So I'm realizing right now I'm kind of cheating because my zipper I can put more than one slider in, so I could actually stitch all the way through. But if you only had one zipper, right, with a zipper with one pull on it, I have done this a few times and it works beautifully. I will so pretend like this only has one zipper pull on it. I will take a pocket like this and I will stitch up to the zipper, stop, and then stitch above it so that this can still go across the top, back and forth, the zipper pull. And nothing can really go into each other's pockets, but you have two separate pockets with one zipper pull. You know? Oh, nice, Glenn. All right, so I was just trying to look at the picture to see if this went through this one, so we're also changing it. So now I think this will be the trickier part, is we're going to position this now and stitch it down to our I can never remember the name of this thing, the laptop pocket. The reason I didn't go all the way to the edge is because it's kind of a pet peeve for me when pockets wrap around an edge like this and then stuff gets down into that corner. You know what I mean? Yeah, right, Eliza? I know, and it tips over. No matter that you thought you shut it. So we're going to just edge stitch. We're just going to turn this under and edge stitch it down. And if it were me, I would bind it and then stitch it down because it's nice and flat, right? But that's how we're going to do it. You could figure out where that point is and do this. And really that point is your seam line on this piece lined up with the seam line on this piece here. So it'd be like right there. It wouldn't be too hard to find, but you might as well just turn it under. So I'm going to, actually I think lining up this raw edge with this raw edge, because that puts that right there, which is where that seam is there. Okay, so we'll line up that raw edge. I'm just going to try and get this parallel. And we'll line up this raw edge with that one. Like that. It's actually not so bad. And then we're just going to pin in the middle so it doesn't move around. Like that. And get rid of all this crap, for lack of a better word. All these little threads and stuff. And you wouldn't want this to get too thick because turning under this edge will get really hard unless you grate it. All right. So you can actually do the whole thing here. We're going to do the whole divider. So now I'm going to stitch from here down, across, up. And then I'm going to stitch the pocket divided. Pennies in the corner. Yep. All right, so we'll start up here. I'm just going to go along the edge of this binding right here, only because the divider is going to want to fold right there anyway. Putting it further in isn't going to make it turn there easily. One of the good things about doing this pocket in this kind of a weird way, okay, there's my notch. I'm gonna denote, because we worked on the measurement of this being big enough for an EpiPen or two. One of the good things, kind of side effects of putting this pocket on here like this is that it's actually going to give the bag a little bit of structure and help it stand up a tiny bit, because we have this ridge we're creating right along the bottom. This is definitely a very uniquely sewn bag. All right, so here we are in this same little territory that I'm bending back my zipper. Why didn't I think of that just now? That's not good. Don't do that. We'd have to bind this, or we're going to have to put our little fabric ends on there. Oof. Don't look. Don't turn me in. All right, so here we go. So now we have our whole thing on there. Now we're going to stitch the pockets. So if you only had one zipper pull, you could just stop right here and pick up again and go right there. There we go. So now we have our EpiPen pocket right here. And then we have our precious pocket right here. We have a pocket right here and a pocket right here. Shabam. Wait, what did I miss? I mean, this is separate right now and not sewn to the, oh God, look at this mess. Yikes. So now we can put our, laptop pocket together. Zipper tabs. Yeah, like zipper tabs at the end. You know, every time I see that phrase, I think it means something else, zipper tabs. But that is, I mean, basically what it is. It's a good word for it, honestly. But I don't know why, but when I see the word zipper tabs, I always think that means like a zipper pull. Yay for pockets! Okay, so this is our laptop sleeve. Like that. I can't wait to do this part too. Do we edge stitch all the way through? Do we understitch? We're gonna edge stitch. Let's iron. This is going together pretty, like now that I'm seeing what we're making, I'm realizing there's a lot of ways this could have gone wrong. Because we added so many features that sometimes those features will bump into each other, you know, and you just really can't make it work. You can, but you have to do so much extra construction. And explaining that kind of construction to people, it's kind of why you don't see really complicated things for sale on the market. Pattern makers want their customers to be successful. Because if they're not, then no one will make it or it'll get bad reviews. That's what I think. That's why putting out the project bag for me was kind of a big risk, I feel like. It's a hard bag to sew, but it's what everyone asked for in my survey. So I'm a people pleaser. I don't ever sew with this stuff. It's kind of weird. All right, and I'm just going to treat these as one. You could finish them if you want, but I don't think there's a reason because they're at the very bottom of your bag. Right? All right, so let's edge stitch this. Okay. I was going to ask for my daughter's laptop because I think hers is this big. I forgot. I'll try and photograph it after the stream. Okay, so let's do our little... So this is what happens when you start having these interlinings. So we have 3 layers right now, right? And theoretically you'd think, oh, all these pattern pieces can be identical. This is what I like to call allowing for the kerf, which is a woodworking term. You know, like, so when they saw wood, the width of the blade is called the kerf that is being used in the wood, and they sometimes have to allow for that in making their designs and stuff. And this is exactly something you run into when you start adding interlinings that have some thickness, you know. So we're not going to construct this so that there's a bunch of different pattern pieces to allow for that, so you're going to have to do it yourself. But like, that's why the project bag pattern has a couple of extra pieces. I allow for the kerf and I actually make pattern pieces for it because otherwise it's a pain in production. Just do this. We'll trim it, make sure we got all our layers, and we did. Yeah, I think so, Eliza. I think like depending on your fabrication, and it's hard to picture sometimes when you're cutting it out. But yeah, you can't even see this pocket right here, can you? And remember, this is at the bottom of the bag. But this is kind of a nice little touch. You know, you can kind of see your divider has the facing. I won't edge stitch this. I'll leave it soft. I think that's a little bit overkill. All right, so now we have this ready. So where does it leave this? This is our flap. This is our sides. This is the back. This is going to go to the front. Right. Which is, oh, down here. Here we go. So this is when I'm thinking, ooh, maybe it would have been smart to have some interfacing in this. All right, so I've actually never done this, so let's see how we do here. This is gonna have to line up, like I'm gonna center this like this, because this is actually the width of the bag, right? Because that's the little box we've created, this for the volume of the laptop. So then we know we want this to stitch right across from itself right there. So what I like to do, I'm gonna just put a little pin right here. There's my stitching. And now I'm just gonna slide this over like this. I'm not gonna worry about it too much because I'm just gonna get it sewn. That way I can see what am I dealing with, you know? All right, so the bottom of this, it's actually a little higher, probably right there, right? Because that's the seam line, and this would be the finished thing, like that, right? All right. Okay. All right. So now we have a bottle pocket. Ooh, that seems kind of, is that the right width? That doesn't seem like enough right there. I think it's wider than that. Let me see here. I mean, that is kind of the width right there. All right, well, I guess maybe we'll need to move this whole thing more that way. We'll have to see. My water bottle's kind of skinny because I use a clean canteen, but some of them are really big. So this will be a good experiment, and I'll put a bunch of water bottles in there and we'll see what works, like how big we can get away with without it pulling the bag in some weird way. All right, so now we have our front here. And now we're getting to the point where we can put this on the inside back. I usually like the stiffeners and interfacings to go to the outer piece. I should have sewed this on before I just did what I did. I was a little too eager there. All right, so we're gonna tack this onto the inside. Yeah, I should have done that before I did this. That's so funny. I was eager. This would not make a difference if this was on here already. All right, so we're just gonna tack this on here, lining up to all the raw edges here. Stop ooching, please. There's a lot of layers there. Okay, so I get that going. I'm gonna line this up right here. I'm gonna lay that like that. That's what I want. I want that seam to line up at the seam line of this. How do you guys feel about 1/4 inch seams? Are you feeling a little bit like that's not big enough for you? I'm gonna try and push that seam allowance to the inside like that. And now we're going to turn. You wouldn't want to make this pocket in stiffener probably. This step would probably be pretty hard. And I didn't even think about that. I'm just realizing that just with what I picked, anything stiffer might be a little challenging. You know? The laptop side shouldn't count right when laying them together. Yeah, exactly. They're good. You like 1/4 inch? Okay. All right, so now we have something weird looking now, which is good. All right, so now we have, we're really close here. So we have our front right here, right? And then we're gonna have our back. I could have actually, well, shoot. I just created more work for myself, but that's okay. Let's assemble the back. We have the back. We have this pocket that we added. Yeah. Well, I should have done this at the same time. It doesn't matter because we have baffles. I keep forgetting we have baffles. So, we have sides to our bag. We have a notch there. Oh, I'll iron it. I'm getting eager. Now is not the time to skip important steps. What time is, how long have we been doing this? Oh, not bad. Okay. For a prototype of this amount of work, this isn't bad. Okay, this is the back pocket on the outside of the bag. Do we want the birds to show? I don't think so. I think this is when I like binding because then it makes that pocket kind of visible, you know? Like I could have bound the edge, top edge of the pocket. And it would kind of show up on the bag better, you know? All right, so we have this here. And we're going to stitch just a straight line there. So let's mark it. Because I just said straight, so now I feel like I actually have to do it straight. So there we go, right there. And it actually can go through all these layers. Gotta get rid of all this stuff, man. This is the kind of stuff that gets immortalized in there and you will feel it. Look at that. So we'll stitch this down. You'd have to do these separate, and that's probably, like, you could do this and then you can, well, just a second, I'll show you. Okay, so now we have, this is our outer back. I'm just going to tack it in a couple places so that things don't wiggle too much when I start adding all the layers together, because it will. The stiffener, adding that thickness definitely will make things start wiggling. All right, so now we have this back of our bag. And we made this so that this pocket can hold papers, which I personally love. So, yeah, absolutely, Leslie. Eliza. Right? I will be, this is probably the stuff you're like, oh my God. This is when you doubt me at all, of course. Like, I will definitely have those moments where I will start playing a game, because it's like my day off and it's a little, I'm like, it's 4:30. I've been like house cleaning all day. Everything's kind of done. I'm tired. I walked the dogs 3 miles. I'm going to sit and play a game. And then all of a sudden my husband's bringing me dinner. Who does that? I'm like, no. Don't do that. And sometimes I sit and eat it. Sometimes I'm like, no, I'm joining you. I'm going downstairs. Okay, so now I feel like this, once you have this, I would stitch this to this. And then I would stitch this. I would have stitched this on here. Because now here I am, I'm doing it again. Right? You can make all 3 of these layers and you don't have to. Ooh, but we need the top edge. We need the top edge finished. Okay, so, because it has an opening. So we need to sew this together, right sides together. Okay, let me think about this. So the unique thing about this bag is that the lining of the interior of the bag is not separate from the exterior of the bag. And that is because we're doing tricky things like stitching down water bottle pockets. And once we do that, we kind of fuse the outer to the inner. So, because what we could, normally you would have a bag lining, you stick it inside the bag, right? And then that would be your opportunity where you could sew it around the perimeter of the top edge and then drop it in. But we can't really do that. We're going to have to do it in pieces, which means that it's going to be harder to finish these edges here. So we may end up binding those or serging them. Serging is totally fine, Right, Lou? I know. You gave, oh my gosh. Yeah, so my husband's really awesome. He likes to cook, and it's kind of his way of unwinding, where mine is playing a game. Reading books, like listening to books and playing a game I like to escape that way. I like movies and TV and stuff, but I'm honestly getting really, like, there's certain things I really like, but they're not all the time, right? And other things are very manipulative to me. That's just my personal feeling. So I don't watch shows that are really manipulative, that capitalize on making us feel a certain way or alter the story so that it's more drama seeking. I don't like that kind of stuff. I know lots of people who do, and they just, it's a very light thing to them and they get a kick out of it. And for me, I don't know why. It bugs me. All right, this is a good example of how, this fabric is a lot easier to get stretched out than the canvas. And so it's kind of growing right now, and I'm look at all this. Eek! Get in there. This is the top edge. I can't have tucks on that. Remember, if you've heard me say this before, I'm a puller. I end up pulling my sewing, and this is how I get into these fixes here. Oh, yikes. Don't look at that. Oh, that's awesome, Eliza. That's funny. Yeah, my stepdad, he's a retired fireman as well. And my brother briefly was a fireman. And my brother always cleans up. Like when he's at my house, my whole kitchen looks like it got a bath because it's like, I don't know how he gets so much extra water everywhere, but I have to wipe down everything. But he is so good. And I just really appreciate it. He's just doing it before we even notice. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, where's Brett? Oh, he's doing the dishes. And that's usually what I do. I do the dishes. I don't mind at all. All right, so now we have this edge with the stiffener poking up, which is kind of a pain. So, like I said, I would have sewn these two together before I attached it to that. It won't be this fussy, You know what? I turned off the auto exposure as a I turned on the auto exposure as an experiment. It got really dark, didn't it? All right, so I think I'm gonna edge stitch this. The only other thing you can get away with is, as far as talking about like how we're gonna finish this bag, the last step's always the really important one, the kind of money shot one. Well, this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna have to probably stitch that down, but you can bind the perimeter of the top. So that's the only other thing. Hi Claire, thanks for joining us. If you want to chat with us, just make sure you're well, does that mean you're logged in? Maybe. I'm not sure. You probably already are logged in, huh? You said be logged in to chat with us, and we like that. Maybe Leslie, yeah. I think so. But you might not end up using a stiffener as stiff as this one. And look at me. I just started from the bottom and went up. Not a great idea. Prototype. You've been helping. Aww. Sydney, me too. I'm a horrible wife. See, look, I'm not a big fan of that, so I'll probably stitch this all the way through. I think you're right, Leslie. That or just not having it in the seam allowance, Like, put your stiffener up to the top edge. Oh, that reminds me of something. I got to respond to a friend who had a production question. Oh, I'm sewing this kind of badly right now. It's really bad, I promise. Really bad. This is the part where I'm like, all right, we're almost done. We just want to finish it at this point, and we want to see what we're dealing with. Look at that. It's not even straight. Don't look. All right, so, but you can see now like how much easier this would have been to this whole piece rather than how I did it originally. But we're figuring this out as we go. You don't even need to put stiffener in the back. I only did it because I was like, yeah, let's see what it's like to insulate the laptop pocket and give it some cushion. But I didn't want to use this gushy stuff on the back because I thought, well, if we use stiffener, that gives the whole bag overall body. But it might be overkill. Okay, so right now here's our bag. Okay, so here's the inside front lining. We have our 3-dimensional laptop sleeve, our EpiPen pocket, our precious pocket. Who knows we're putting in there? Movie tickets and some peanut M&Ms. A water bottle pocket right here. We have our front, like this. And then we just have the baffles and the flap. Yeah, having the stiffener piece shorter, you could do that. So then it would go right up to the finished seam line. And then just make sure your seam allowance, when it's pressed down, is on like all consistently on one side or the other of the stiffener. Would there be room to make a separate envelope for a laptop to slide into and slide into the sleeve instead of stiffener? Huh? Well, you mean more than this? We already have about, this is like an inch gusset for the, that's just for the laptop right there. You see that? See, so it's away from the bag there. Is that what you're thinking? This is not crooked, by the way. Just looks like it. Oh, I see what you mean. Like a removable sleeve around your laptop that you stick into the bag. You could do that, especially if you left out stiffener in this. And you know, it's not hard to make this deeper. All you do is add to these 3 edges and it changes nothing. Would you place your flap in the top seam or sew on top of the back piece? I'm going to sew on top of the back piece because we're doing that nifty little fold trick. But you just gave me a minor heart attack because I was like, oh, that's right. And then I was like, nope, I've thought about that. Okay. Yeah, you could, Leslie. Yeah, if that's the way you like to carry your laptop, I think that's a great idea. I think everybody has their like way they like to do it or what came with their laptop, you know. I think about that like when we designed needle cases to hold interchangeable knitting needles, and people were asking us to design a case for them, or asking me, and I was like, but don't they all come with a cool case? Because that's what I'd seen. Like the few friends that I knew that had them had bought them and they came with a case. And then I learned, oh, they don't all come with a case, and sometimes they come with a bad case. So people were like, no. And I have 3 sets and I want a case to hold all. I'm like, oh, okay. Wasn't something I used because I used square knitting needles because of my hand issues, and they didn't make sets of those yet. Sets of interchangeables. All right, so now I'm going to sew. Make sure I'm not missing anything. The front swoopy seam here. Just getting a little bit fussy. Maybe this would have been good to do before we did that so that you don't have to deal with the stiffener on the back. I just know you can't do it before you put on the water bottle seam. Because then you'll sew straight through the front. I think I will have to watch my video, though, for some of the sewing steps. I can't get that closer. All right. It's iron. I did have a crochet hook case in my line. Oh, bye, Cindy. Nice seeing you. Have a good day. I won't see you around town, I know. Yeah, it was a DPN case that also held crochet hooks. Gosh, I might even have a few left. I can't remember now. All right, so this is our little front opening swoopy curve. I like the organic lines. That's kind of the only thing I've been kind of foisting on your guys' design is things like that. Little elements that kind of soften the curves and edges or make things kind of blend into each other. But we can see how this would be so fussy to sew. All right, I'm going to to top stitch this top edge here. I mean, if I spent a lot of hours on this design, or just more time thinking about it, especially not live on camera, we could probably streamline this a little bit. You know? There's room for that, for sure. All right, so now I'm just gonna tack this in a few spots right here on the front, just to kind of keep it all together and to keep it from doing that, pulling away from the edge there. So we'll just make sure we don't catch anything out. That could have lined up a little better, eh? There we go. And then see how this is looking now. It doesn't look like it'll pull away, but we'll just tack it in a couple spots to make sure. All right, so that's the back of our bag. That's the front of our bag. A water bottle. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's been a while since I do it. Oh my God, I'm ignoring you. I sometimes focus so that I don't get distracted by chat. I'm sorry. All right, all I did just now was I sewed the outer front to the lining around the perimeter here. That's all I did. Okay, so there we go. Here is your bag so far. You have your laptop sleeve, water bottle pocket. How long you sweepstakes? I'm back. I think I did click and it didn't work. That's probably what it was. Oh my gosh. We'll have to go back and look. All right. So now let's get to the money spots here. Okay, we have our flap. Gonna cover that up like that. Rip it out and do it again. No! And see, remember, this goes like this, right? It goes, I think, like this in the seam back here, like that, and it'll kind of hug the bag. I think it's gonna do that though. Do I need to do it more like that? Huh. Did I figure that out wrong? Secret sewing. I did it more like this. That's not what I want though. What I want is, how would that pattern piece be then? This is how your bag is. Okay. This is how the flap is. And then I want to sew this in the seam right here. Like that. We're going to sew around the perimeter, and then I'm just going to top stitch it down on the back. Can I do that now? I think I can do that now. I think it'll be fine. We have enough room at the top. I designed this incorrectly. I did this. That's not what I want. I want this. I want it like that. Because if I do this, wait, is that right? I'll be right back. Yeah. Yay, Karen, nice. Yeah, how's your corset coming, Glenn? Yeah, I really won't. I don't think it's going to need a closure. Yeah, so we're looking at this older bag I have. Here is... Yeah, I did it correctly then. Okay. It's prototype, yeah. Okay. All right, so let's try it out here. Yeah, because they have it. I'm looking really hard, aren't I? Yeah, like that. Okay, so this is how it would be. I'll put the straps, I think, on the side pieces. I think that might be okay. You know, our flap is obviously a little different. But maybe I could kind of make this angle a little bit better. Okay, okay. I need more binder clips, but I don't have them here. They're in my car of all places. I'm just gonna, sometimes I go through all of the, I should just tack it with a sewing machine. And then I try it out. I feel like we lose a little bit of our angle when we use this kind of flap. Do you see how it does this little wingy thing right here? I'm not a big fan of that. So I think what I need to do is trim it down. Wait. I think the other one works really good because it's shorter. See, it's more like that. It's more like that. The bag is big. Yeah, I don't either, Eliza. So look at all this amazing binding. See, it does this weird wrinkle here. See that? This one does do some weird stuff. It's just kind of not as intrusive. Mainly because it's a smaller flap. We don't have any, there's not much style lines. But it does do the wingy thing. It's just not a big deal. You see that? Not much smaller though. So let's see. What if, and if I did this where it's actually like that, you know, we'd have to taper the flap. Sydney. That's so funny. That's a lot of breathing room. I think I do too. I think because our flap is so much deeper and generous, it creates a different shape, right? So here's our sides. I'm gonna just sew this on here temporarily, okay? Raw edges out. That way we have a better idea. Oh, that's bending my pens. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna probably regret this. Sewing this. Okay, I'm just gonna sew this raw edges out. I am not planning on binding the bag here. But I think we need a good visual before. Whew, that is a long stitch. Watch your fingers. How far do I go? Just go there, and we're gonna go here. I'm actually gonna put the seams on the inside of the bag. Don't worry, I'm not planning on binding it on the outside, but I will tell you, it would be easier. Okay, so now we have this one side, right? And so let's do our other side. More like a box. What many sides are included? Yeah, yeah, exactly, Barbara. The angle looks less sharp than in the paper design. Yeah, I agree. Walter! A box corner. I thought that's what I did. Do you mean like differently? I might need a more explanation. It's a prototype, so sometimes I get desperate and I just start sewing it together just to get something. All right. Walter, look at that big laptop cushy sleeve. Pretty nice, huh? Okay. So, here's our back. Okay, so here is my top here. Just gonna pin this here. And you. Desperate Housewives. What? What's that? What did I miss? Okay. So, can you guys see okay? Okay, so here we go. Here we have our, it is a big bag. It doesn't look so big on the table now, but on me, you know, it's a pretty big bag, you guys. You know? But here it is on me, right? So, if I put this on my dress form, it would swallow a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Here's our flap. And we were this is originally what I thought I was doing. I'm gonna sew it on there. Okay. I like to know what I didn't think of, you know? What didn't I account for? This stitch length is gonna sew my hand. Okay. It's huge. Yeah. All right. So here we go. The flap isn't stiff enough yet to kind of go over, and it's not long enough. I think it's not long enough, to be honest. Eliza. I think that this flap is not the right flap. So let's see here. Remember I was like, okay, we can't make the flap too long because just because we have this depth here, we can't just add that to the length of the flap. I still stand by that. It's just that I've never sewn a flap like this before where it's anchored right here on the sides. So it is got this kind of nice secure feeling here, right? Because it's definitely hugging it. Do you want me to make it brighter? Yeah, it's a messenger bag. We don't have Megan here to tell us it's too bright. We love you, Megan. Okay. Oh, I don't think we could have done that, Sherry, because there's so much going on. I think you have to sew it from the back. Then when you flip it over to the front, it will stand up. The flap. I mean, I could pretend sew it down, you know, but oi, get in there. Where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? Was that just in my hand? Okay, so I think that the flap needs to be longer. Or actually what I think is that it needs to be snug, more snug over here. Like what if it did something? Can you guys see okay? Oh, I want to get rid of that. Oh, okay, Patty, I think I misunderstood them. It's a very wide bag. This right here, I think we need to get rid of something right here, you know? The little wing-a-ding-ding there. Like, what if it was more like, is this what you guys are talking about? Like, box it like this so that it's truly, like, boxed on the top? I'm sewing it going the wrong way. I am? Like this? I'm sewing it going the wrong way. Maybe I am. Oh, put right sides together in the back, then sew the notch. Oh, Patty. Yeah, I think that's a possibility. But yeah, I was like, this I think is what they are talking about. So let's just pin this and see what we think. Right? It's certainly interesting looking. Let's do it about right here. Pretend like we're kind of lined up with this seam right here. Yeah, and then I'm going to try Patty. What I think Patty's saying is sew this to itself, not to the bag. place your thing. Okay. Just to see what it could look like. Place the back up. All right, so I'm going to do the full screen here. Will the full screen work on this side? Hi. Ooh, this is so weird being at my sewing table. Okay, so this is the side right here with the box happening right now. Flip the flap. Okay, wait. Flip the flap, and you will see that it has the corner. Wait, same depth as the back. Stop there. Now. Sorry, there's like a 10-second delay, Patty. I think that could work if the flap was longer. This right here. You can still lift it up and use it. Grab the flap and flip it toward the back, and the corner would be right. I'm sorry, Patty. I probably drive you crazy right now that I can't figure out what you're talking about. As I am sitting now. You're done painting, Terry? As you're sitting now. Okay, so the one thing you have to understand, Patty, is you're facing me, and it might be backwards to me. All right, so on this side, you know what I think too? I think we could add elastic right here or a tuck at the top. Just taper it at the top a little bit. I've done this before. Even like, you know, something. So that it doesn't go. Flip the flap towards you. I'm going to try boxing this side now. See, this is why streaming on Twitch, it's more instantaneous. I have to think without the binding. Attach piece to the flap temporarily to see what is the length. Yeah, like how much more to make it. Okay, so right now we have our boxed. Why does that one look weird? Oh, because I didn't pull it down maybe? I don't think I got this one very good here. Let's see. I just swept. I don't want to sweep again for to find all my pins. Yeah, what did you paint? Yeah, so I was thinking that this would all just be an interior seam. It wouldn't be bound on the outside, you know? But you're liking this like idea here? It definitely makes the flap longer in a way, right? Yeah, and I think also, put something inside the bag. Yeah. When the flap has more body with the extra layer of fabric, that'll help. It looks really boring to me. Oh, Patty. Oh, yeah, exactly. But I think it would have the same effect. Don't you think? Yeah, I agree with you, though. It would definitely probably help the overall function if it were sewn right sides together inside the seam. You're right. Yeah, that is a lot of work. Here's the back. So you have your paper pocket, and who knows what we'll put there. When in doubt, just put peanut M&Ms in there. All right, and so I don't like the way it's hanging still. You know? This is feeling kind of crafty to me right now. I mean that in the nicest possible way. So let's put a little dart there. It could be Leslie, but that's not going to change anything because this is the two edges that was the, like, that's how it's supposed to be, you know? So we could raise that up back there. That's fine. You know, it could even just does not even be there, right? Maybe we should sleep on this particular, that's probably a good idea. Actually, it's a really good idea. We should probably think about this. Because I feel like if I do decide, I will, something will come to me later when I'm not thinking too hard about it. So I think right now, what I would do is I think I'm going to sew the bag together. I just realized that because it has a lining, I might still be able to clean finish it. God, you know what? Because of the divider, I can't. I know that. I can't do that. Well, heck, you guys. You might be binding this bag. I am really sad to tell you that. Because when you have because of this divider right here, your coveted water bottle pocket, it prevents you from sewing the bag right sides together. If the flap and the top of the bag were even, then sewn, then flip the flap. Is the flap attached to the bag? Maybe we should, okay. So I'm gonna see if I can do what Patty's saying, just so we can kind of explore that. And basically what you're wanting me to do is sew this part right here all right sides together, correct? Which I think we still can do on the back. I don't even think we can do it on the back. We won't be able to do that because of the divider. Because of the water bottle pocket. All right, so there's another way to do a water bottle pocket. This is not the first time I made one. All right, so what do you guys think of, which one is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is being sewn in the closed position, but that's kind of how this one is, see? It is being sewn in the closed position. See? And I can tell by the green line that it's constructed the way I did it. It's just very short. Okay, what was I gonna tell you guys? Okay, so because of the water bottle pocket, here's another way we can do this. So this right here, not being attached to the other side of the bag. So what you can do is actually make something like this that comes out from the seams right here. So it comes out like this from the baffle side seam there. Delete the water pocket. They're not going to let me do that, Sherry. You guys gotta tussle it out then. Right, exactly. If she were watching, she'd be like, oh, I know that look. The notch is upside down, Patty. It is? You're doing such a good job explaining this to me, and I'm sorry. I'm not understanding it. Let's pull this out. Okay. So, and if this were right sides together, which right now we can't sew that way, but we can make a water bottle pocket come out from your end. Yeah, it can be something like that. Yeah, Sherry, I think deleting the water bottle pocket's fighting words with this crowd. They're really excited about that part. But it can come from the baffle. And it can be even just like made the same way with like 2 layers of fabric so that it's kind of stiff and sticks out. I think elastic is great, but it's unnecessary because sometimes it's kind of a pain to aim your water bottle into that pocket when you're doing this. You know, putting your bottle into the pocket, especially like mine has rounded edges. I don't have a bottle here, but I can show you what I mean by that. It's not really even a bottle shape, but I'll show you what I mean. What do I have? So now this one is, it's obviously a pint cup. But this right here is what I'm thinking of right here, right? So you have this like round diameter and it's rounded right here. And so when you're holding a whole bottle, so pretend like it's straight up and not tapering like this, you know? So when you're trying to aim for that pocket, having the elastic kind of becomes cumbersome. Yeah, and then Sherry, people could put it on the inside or the outside if we did it this way. So this, we could make this just coming from the seams right here. And then you're back to putting this together, right sides together, and you don't have to bind. Yeah, exactly, Barbara. You could just cut the elastic in the pocket. Just make a tiny little hole with your seam ripper, and then cut the elastic in there. Gone. You don't even need to pull it out. Just cut it in there, and it'll relax. I've done that. Okay, so Patty. Are you still here, or did you rage quit on me? Let's see here. What am I doing? I feel like I'm pretty sure this is how that flap is. Right? So now we have this little pocket here. And even if it was right sides together, same idea. It'd be just like all the gussets we sewed, right? I don't want to put elastic in the flap. I feel like that can look a little crafty and feminine. Unless that's the look you're going for. I'm gonna think about this. I know, Glenn, right? Patty, I feel like, is furiously sewing a sample and photographing it, and she's gonna message me. I hope. Teach me your ways. I love that expression, rage quit. I think it's a very simple phrase. No matter who you are, you understand what it means. You know what I mean? Rage quilt. Exactly. Yeah. The first time, oh, I forgot my camera's not on me. Sorry. The first time my husband heard me say that, he did a double take and laughed at me. Okay. So I think like we can make this work with the box. I like the box idea because I'm with you guys. I really like it to be secure and I don't really want to have to do a lot of closures, you know? I think this would have to be a little bit longer to feel better about it, because it is kind of a big bag, you know? Like you've got this, I mean, look at this, how far this can go out. So if your bag is full right now, it's extending past the flap. Yes, exactly. Hi, Megan. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for saying hi, too. Okay, we're kind of at the end of the stream. I don't know if you've been here for very long, but this is a really unique project that we're doing. I know, Patty. It's so hard to give sewing instructions that can only be interpreted one way, isn't it? I had to do that for years, and definitely it can be tricky. Oh, you guys are so nice. I'm so glad when you guys say hi to folks. So, so see, like when the bag, if it was full, which, you know, you guys are going to overstuff it. Look, it's extending past this flap. And I did make the flap a little bit conservative because I don't like flaps to get really huge. And sometimes they will be like hanging beyond your bag. So, oh, cool. What do you like to sew, Megan? We're usually sewing clothing. We haven't sewn a lot of clothing this year, I have to admit. I just placed an order yesterday at Hearts, and I ended up getting 2 patterns I want. I want one of them. I didn't find the one I really want. I want the Clover dress by Paper Cut Patterns. Is anyone interested in that? I want that dress. And then I got the mitosis. Oh my God, that word just drives me crazy. I don't know what it is. So, are you taking off, Sydney? Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for coming by. Have a great day. I know it's early for you too still. I got some fabric too. Oh, I got a Kelly green fabric with white polka dots to make a Friday dress. So, okay. So I'm going to think about this. So can we put this together right now without our flap? Just so we have something. So if we put this in the seam. All right, so let's deconstruct a little bit. Let's see how far I want to go with this right now, because I might want to call it. I'm not sure. Let's see. So I think like this right here. All right, so let's take this out. I can't help myself even though I'm hungry. Nancy! Oh, nice. Are you making those saffron jeans? Those things are saucy. The Friday dress, is that really what I just called it? Did I just call it the Friday dress? I meant to say the Lucida dress by the Friday Pattern Company. We made the watermelon one last year. Remember that? And then we had to send it to Hearts, and I want one for me. What, Lou? Are you serious? The Clover dress? Really? I have one bookmarked that is so cute, and I want it. It has that little inset, and I really want to do something like fun with that. All right, so this is me trying to make my prototype closely resemble what's actually going to happen now. So let's see here. So now we have this little flap we're not going to use, right? So I could just cut it off. But then we need something that goes right here on the side. I say we stop here, and then maybe we reconstruct a few pieces. And we might be able to make this one still work. Right? Rage dripping. It was a basting stitch. Look. Do I look ragey? You haven't seen me ragey. Oops. Let's see. There's been very few times where I did something and I immediately got up and walked out. Like, there's been very few times. And I've already blocked them out, so I can't even tell you what they are. I don't even know. There's a few things that come to mind, but most of the time I try and sew with a backup plan in mind, you know, if it's something really important. There's only been a few things in recent years I had no way of having a backup plan for it because of the fabric we were using. And I was really nervous. And one time I did have to send Rayanne home because I was like, I just need to be here by myself. So, and she was like, yep, understood. See you later. Bye. And it was this really weird thing that had happened. And they were all these limited edition bags. And the weird thing that was happening was the bag was made with this very light colored khaki canvas. And all of a sudden on the bottom of the bag, there were wallabies, or the first time we were making wallabies. There was this gray strip of dirt happening over and over in all the bags. And there were like 95 of them or something. And they were a lot of work. We hand screen printed or heat transferred this cat face on the front of the bag. And then when the bag sat there, it looked like a cat head with this lining. If you have one of these, you're going to know now that I almost cried on that project. And what happened was the metal of her machine, when she was doing this one step, because I had done all of it and then she was doing the last step, was putting a gray stripe on the bottom of every bag. We could not figure it out. I'm like, all right, they're going into that bin without the gray thing, and they're coming out that bin with the gray thing. What's happening? And it was the metal of her machine. It wasn't oil. It wasn't pen. It wasn't ink. It was the weirdest freaking thing. I went around to like 6 stores, paint stores, all kinds of things, trying to get a stain remover to get rid of it. Metal is not usually listed on the thing. Oh man. Yeah. That's one time. That's the only time I want to think of right now. But that one was pretty bad. The fold line has it. So that means it's a PDF, Lou? Okay. What's not working right now, Nancy? Well, it's not that, like, the bag's actually coming together really nicely. We have our double zipper pocket here. Plus we have... You guys let me do that after telling you that I made that mistake before? What? You guys, look, I did that. Oh my God, you guys, you're fired. What the heck? What the heck? I need to fix this even if we don't use this right now. Oh yeah, Nancy, I've done that too. Yeah, I mean, that is one thing, like, I've definitely heard of factories that, like, sewists can't do that. They have to make everything work. Ooh, that is a powerful long stitch we got there. Okay. No bind, no bobbin thread. Great. Wow. I can't believe that. You guys did that. No paper pattern? Oh, no, it's a paper pattern. They're, that's in the UK though, isn't it? The fold line? All right, now, okay, so Nancy, we have our 3 pockets. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, even though these guys almost let me not have it. We have our gusseted pockets for eyeglasses and phone. These are a little over-engineered, I think, for a phone or eyeglasses, but hey, they're cute. Exactly, Nancy. Yeah, Patty, right? I can't believe I did that. Back here, we have our EpiPen pocket, or 2 EpiPens, our precious pocket. We have pockets behind here. And then this was our water bottle pocket divider. And I'll come back to this. We have our pocket that's padded for a full-size laptop. It's a monster. There's pockets on the back here. This is the back of the bag, right? But we're having trouble with our flap. It's not laying as cute as we'd like it to, or as in line with the bag. And then I also realized, because of the way we have this water bottle pocket going across the middle of the bag and being attached, it makes it so that we can't sew the inside of the bag and the outside of the bag with seam allowance, clean finished, or into the bag. How do I want to phrase that? We can sew the little perimeter edging, which I've now lost. Oh, it's right here on my lap. So that it's right sides together on the outside to the inside, because this would prevent us from getting around the perimeter. So now we're talking about making this be something that just comes out from the side piece here of the bag. Yeah, the fold line's okay. I'm in the States. I'm not going to order anything that needs to be shipped right now unless it's like food, which we're kind of getting to, you know. But I feel like I want to, just so I don't lose out on that pattern. I wonder what's up with it. I wonder why they pulled it. So I think we can make a water bottle pocket that's more like this. It comes out, like, pretend like this is the pocket. It comes out like this. And then you could actually be flattened against the side of the bag if you're not using it. And someone can put it on the outside if they want, but it wouldn't have a bottom to it. That's a little bit too much to construct as far as what we're at now. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to make a water bottle pocket, and we're going to refine this flap thing that we have going on here. I mean, that looks okay, doesn't it, Patty? But that's not how we're sewing it. That's not that old. No, I want the Clover dress by Paper Cut. I have the Lucida. Yeah, right, Patty? I mean, but this means that this right here is going to the seam right here. I can make this longer. I could make this much deeper, right? So that it accommodates the width of our side. Maybe that's what we do, you guys. You know? Oh, I have that one, Barbara. I have the Lucida. Yeah, it's okay. Sorry. I know I was a little bit vague on that. It's the Clover dress. I bought some fabric from Hearts for Lucida because we sewed it for them. And then I got two patterns from there. I got the Pinnacle top, and I got the Myosotosis by Deer and Doe. Oh my gosh. That is just one of those words when I look at it, I'm like, I'm going to think about that word for 24 hours a day for 3 days in a row until something else pops into my head and I had to repeat that over and over incorrectly in my head. Yeah, so I got one piece of fabric and then I got two patterns from them. Pretty sure, yeah. All right, so I think that there's promise with this. But right now what I'm thinking is I could sew the sides on the bag now that this is gone. But I really think we need to address some pattern issue. Myosotis. That's not how it is it? I'm adding an extra syllable. Okay. Would that help with the gap? I don't know. It does. I think it needs to be longer. I think the flap is I think the angle is just not gonna. Myosotis. Is that really all it is? Myosotis? I'm gonna look at it, but it's gonna get stuck in my head. All right, so I think we should talk more about the pattern before I go any further. We have this at least for, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sew the sides to it. This one, I mean, I really can't do much with this right here, you know. Ooh, it's just going to be in there. But myosotis is the correct name. It means forget-me-not. Okay, I'm going to call it the forget-me-not dress. Okay, myosotis. So I'm going to try and best I can put these sides on the bag right now, mainly because that way I can, I'll have the bag as a frame to design the flap from, you know? But I do think it's still in the, you're going to either have to bind the interior seams or serge them. There's not much getting around away with that. But now that we're changing the construction of it, I might be wrong about that. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. So let's just do the best we can here. And then I need to eat. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. My only issue, Leslie, is that is the side with the this right here. So I could just like stick it right there maybe. You know, but it's not really a pocket. Things can fall out. I just want to cut it off. I'm just going to leave it in there for now. Maybe what I could do is pop the stitches open, and then that's a little pocket. Myosotis. Oh my god. Myositis. Oh, stop it. I don't know about, does anyone have that where they get like a funny word and it just gets really stuck in their head and they just can't shake it? I get that really bad sometimes and it just plagues me. All right, so let's see if I can get this on here. I think I've kind of handled this bag a little bit much right now to do this. But we'll try. It's been ripped apart a couple times. It's getting a wee bit wonky. I don't have any notches for my corners of this, so lots of luck, right? I know what I can do, though. I can at least give myself a middle. And I can just notch the middle of the bag. I don't have my corners, but at least I'll have this. It's something. And then let's mark this. Even if it's just close, it'll help. All right. My toes. Stop it, you guys. Yeah, it's songs. I know. You know, I have to, sometimes it really starts bugging me, that kind of thing, Eliza. And I have to go, stop, in my head really loud. Like just in my head, but I have to just, even mid chorus of the song, I stop. I do not even finish the chorus. It's the only way I can stop it from continuing. It'll really bug me. I'm not like a big sufferer of OCD, but that kind of thing makes me feel like it a little bit. I feel a little like manic. I'll be like, oh, stop singing in my head. Whatever it is, you know. So there's my center thing, and that's my center. Oh boy. That ain't happening. This bag is changed a little too much to make that happen, but it's okay. I'll fix my top thing there and it'll be fine. All we're doing right now is we're getting something together, so now we have a way to work on the flap, since it's a little tricky to picture without the three-dimensional part of it. Okay, so let's see here. And let's really hope that this will be the same on the both sides. Just like that. It matches. You give it to someone else. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right, Eliza? I know. That's right. Ooh, Nancy. Don't even give me my brain that idea. Counting stitches. When you mean like hand sew. Right? Hand sewing. When I'm counting certain things though, oh, this was not long enough. I'm just going to do it with a tuck. When I'm counting things, I find that I have to, ooh, this is really bad. I have to count out loud sometimes so that I hear the last number I said so that I don't get confused, you know? All right, so let's just try and find where this is going to be about. It's going to be about right there. There. The on the fly, you know, trying to figure out where that corner hits on this side. So you want it to be straight across. This isn't perfectly accurate, but it's something more than the center one that I have. Did you see that weirdness right there? What is that? Is that okay? I think it is okay, but it does look a little funny, huh? Maybe when I went to stitch that down. Oh, was it? That one was on this week? There's been far too much news on at my house. How about you guys? Okay. So now we're going to sew the side. See, so finishing the inside seam, if you don't bind it, you can serge it. It would be nice to figure out a way to clean finish. And I think if we get rid of the way we're doing the water bottle, we might have that option now. Because look at our front right here. Because our front actually doesn't have a something stitched to it anymore. And we wouldn't have done this little stitch line because you guys forgot to tell me to stitch my dumb pocket down. It's all your fault. This piece is, this one's freed up, but this one is not freed up for that. Is it? Could it be? I want this to be not too hard to sew for you guys. Okay. Let's get our baffles out of the way there, or our gussets. Oof, this is not fitting. Not fitting at all. Our bag is going to be a little wonky. We'll definitely add some notches for matching up the perimeter because we don't want no wonky bags, right? And that'll help a lot. Plus, we'll know also that we're sewing it accurately by then, too. Nancy. Bye, Lou. Nice seeing you. I thought you had to leave already. Didn't we say bye to you? Get out of here. We're counting steps, yeah. Yeah, my other weird, quirky thing I will do is if, like, say I'm walking downtown, you know, where the sidewalk, on a sidewalk or something like that, and if my left foot steps on a crack, the right foot has to step on a crack, you know, and it'll bug me until it does. All right, so let's turn the bag right side out. Okay. Oh yeah, we're a little shy right there. That's okay though. We're just trying to get this together for the flap thing. That's kind of cool seeing it all sewn now, right? I kind of wish that this edge right here could be like sewn like that in a way, you know? To a wampum. Well, obviously, Nancy. I mean, that's what I would use them for. This bag will probably never get finished, though, to be honest. All right, so here we go. Here's our flap. And so the last thing Patty and I were talking about is this. Just sewing that like that, right? But it coming from here, like this. I think that'd be hard to sew. But look at that. That is better. It's not deep enough though, so let's make it deeper. It won't be the right like width around, but let's see, that's about there. All right. Look at that. Let's do the full screen. I always turn it the wrong way because it's the opposite. There we go. Okay. So yeah. How wide? 4? Yeah, they're 4. Because you have, look at this huge, I think this pocket's just too big for this bag. I think the bag needs to be bigger for a laptop that size, to be honest. You know what I mean? Or maybe it just doesn't need to sit out like that. It's an open source bag. You guys can do whatever you want to it. All right, so here's our flap. That's what I'm thinking, Eliza. We can tuck it at the top on the sides. So here, we could do this. And obviously make the flap a lot longer. I kind of did the wrong one, huh? I even put it on the wrong side, actually. So here, let's try this one. Like this. Let's see, where's 4 inches? About right there. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, the water bottle pocket's going to be on the inside. It's just going to come out from this seam right here. So it'll be like this. Like a piece of fabric that goes like this. Seam to seam, I think. All right, so here we go. We did this. See, the bag is just too, it's too long this way. We got to ignore that side, okay? Because when I made it this deep, it makes the flap like this wide. Right, Patty, I know. So there we go. We have that like that, hugging it. Let's get rid of this so it hangs better. And I'll probably troubleshoot this a little bit next week, so I have some ideas for you guys to pick from. Why did I backstitch? Who knows? Because optimism never dies with me. That's why. Okay. So now this will hang a little bit better. Okay. So we have our bag. I'm just going to put some things in there to hold it down. A salami and a cup. There we go. See, I'm not like... You know what I think it could use is something that goes across right here. Okay, so just ignore this side over here. We're just looking kind of how this is working right here. You know, so if this were attached, maybe there was a little extension here and we can finish that edge. And then that little extension comes down on the back right here. Keep forgetting you don't have an overhead camera. Something kind of like that would be more snug. Better than that darted thing we were doing. You know? You could still lift up your flap, but then it would kind of snug over. Yeah. Yeah, Liza, right? Yeah, so I think, yeah, you could just do a little buckle or something. Let me think about that. All right. Well, I think we made some headway. It definitely illustrates how hard it is to, the camera is like the opposite of what I think. It definitely shows you how hard it is, right? Here's my phone. Let's put my phone in there. Clonk. Sound of a clean canteen. That's pretty big. Very easy though. Yeah, that is pretty cute, huh? That was a good bird for that spot. He's got that kind of swoop along his back too. And then I'll maybe show it with a laptop inside. I would make the laptop thing myself for my bag because I don't have one. But so I want to try it out with one in there because this thing's big. And maybe I made it too big, you know? So then we have this little flap here. We're getting there, you guys. It's a project. I like the way that looks. Don't you guys like that? Like that looks really clean. Thank you for pushing that, Patty. Hey, late night, how's it going? Looks like I planned. Oh, which thing, Nancy? Yeah, so Wednesday we'll continue this. I know you guys are eager for the design, but it's obviously needs some work. I think that I wouldn't do stiffener in the back either. It's just a little overpowering. It is nice that it's giving it the structure and it's, you know, making it stand up, you know. How wide is it? Let's see. It's the laptop pocket will fit a pretty big laptop, like 15 inches is what you said. And then the overall bag is about 17 from side to side, 4 from front to back. Inches. So. Oh, you're fine, late night. I didn't see what you had written, but yeah. Yeah, so this is the bag that y'all designed, and then now we're doing the prototype. And we got pretty far. Okay, cool, Walter. Yeah, I think you're right. I think once it's in there, it doesn't leave a lot of room on the inside, so I'll show you. I have the salami and the cup in there right now. So this would be where the laptop goes, but see, look at that. I have the salami, you know, that I iron on. So yeah, so then, but we're gonna have a water bottle right here. Salami, i.e. water bottle. I'm not sure, late night. I imagine you could. I mean, that is maybe where you put a little bit of Velcro. You know, you can hang a little piece of ribbon that goes straight down. I think that would help. I think Walter's right that once it's in there, it's going to do this. And it's going to stay. You know? I'm kind of eager now to get Cricket's laptop and see. My husband's is kind of small. And yeah, and so then we have in here, what do you guys think though about the like EpiPen pocket and stuff? Do you think that's kind of low? Or are these pockets that you're just, I mean, they're actually not that bad. Here's the EpiPen pocket. There's a little pocket here and here and here. We can probably even unengineer this a little bit now that we're removing the divider off of it. Hi Raquel, nice to see you. And then on the front here, got our triple pocket action here. I think if this was fabricated in a really pleasing way, it would be actually really interesting detail. I kind of want to put a flap over the zipper. You know? I was going to write that down, but I'm like, why haven't I written anything else down? So let's just think about these things and come up with what we'd like to see in our next iteration. Yeah, I'm sorry if those of you just joined. I'm kind of wrapping. I'm getting hungry, you know? I've been looking at the chat on that other window to see if I miss any. Yeah, right, Patty? I know. I don't like that happening either. And like we designed it for, it is for something that you're probably not going to need all the time, but you need to have with you, right? So it's there and it's secure, and you can put some padding on the front of it or whatever. I don't really know what the EpiPen is like as far as like if it needs a little bit of security. Yeah, me too, Raquel. Yeah, so Wednesday we'll continue to design this. But it's coming along. It's a lot of features. But I think they're really good, you know? So, cool. All right, well, thanks, you guys. That was fun. A divider strip in the middle of which thing, late night? I have a here I ended up kind of cheating, and I did one long zipper across this pocket section here. But I put two zipper heads on it and I stitched through. So there is actually two zippered pockets here. And if you guys don't have the luxury of adding two heads to a zipper, you can just not stitch through the zipper right there. And you can use the zippered pocket all the way across, but still have two. Or you just yeah, I'm not sure, Nancy. Good point. We'll have to think about that. Like, what happens if you make it? Okay. What did you say on the inside of this motherfucker? Wait, is there closing? Wait. This divider strip in the middle will look nice. Oh, that would divide the two pockets. Well, this right here needs to be this certain dimensions to accommodate 2 EpiPens. That was one of the things you guys requested. Thanks, Walter. You too. Happy sewing. And I'm not a big fan of adding more and more pockets, because then if you start putting stuff in them, you can't put stuff in your bag. But there are quite a few here. We have this one right here, this one right here, this one, and this one. The laptop. This did today have a divider going across the bag right here for the water bottle, right? It went across like this. It's kind of looking funky right now. There we go, like that. But what we realized is that'll make sewing the bag a little too tricky as far as clean finishing if you don't want to use binding. So we're going to make a different water bottle style pocket. So now that's flat. So this whole thing might get a little bit cleaned up a little bit. And then here we have a zipper pocket, a flat pocket, a zippered pocket, and then the eyeglass case and phone pocket. So, yeah. And then on the back, we have this document pocket, and that could be a phone pocket as well. That would be pretty secure because it would be kind of deep in there. I have a big phone. It has more than enough pockets, yeah. I don't want you guys suing me because your backs are hurting from all the junk you're carrying around either, so. All right, cool. Well, don't stress sew too much. Don't stress eat too much. Oh, whatever. We'll just resize our garments. It'll be fine. Do whatever it takes to keep your sanity right now. And, you know, listen to a book. Listen to some music. Go on a walk. It's really nice outside here. So, happy sewing. Let me know what you're sewing and what you're getting up to. Send me a hello. And I'll see you guys Wednesday for this, unless you want a break from this. So just let me know, and we'll continue on. But I think that this is, I think one more drafting session, and then we might even be able to cut it out in the same one, and then we can sew it. So you're drinking box wine, yeah. Exactly. My daughter was like, I really want ice cream, and Dad said I can go as long as it's late, and this was a few days ago before everything kind of got even more serious. And so he let her go to the store late, and then she got there and they'd closed early. This is like our regular big grocery store. So he placed another order the next day for other things. Like we had enough stuff to order from the grocery store we've been picking up things from, and they got me ice cream too. I was like, oh. So we got like 3 things of ice cream. I'm like, you guys, these aren't like necessary things, you know, but I'm thankful they're there. So, and they were like, we picked out Oreo cookie ice cream for you. How do you feel about that? I was like, that sounds good. So I'm usually like mint chip and peanut butter and chocolate, and that's about all. Or vanilla with, then I put cocoa powder and almonds on top. Almonds from my granola that I make. So, and I like cones. I like plain cones. So, all right. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys soon. So hang in there, and let's just keep on sewing. Where's my thingy? It's way up there. Okay. Bye, guys.